Hello, guys. Welcome back. I hope we're all really good. Okay, we are going to find ourselves on our mat. And before we get started, find yourselves your Pilates ring and also a light resistance band. That is what we're going to be using today. Okay, so get yourselves on your mat. And then from here, let's begin. So guys, if you start in a seated position, let's take our hands down to our laps. Let's start to roll our shoulders back and re-lengthen the vertebrae through the spine. I want you to almost draw your head back to sit on top of the pelvis and pull the breastbone in that sits just in between the upper rib cage. Pull that into the back of your body. Okay, stacking up nice and taut. If you're up against a wall, it's always quite nice to sit on a yoga block here if you have one to hand. If you have one close by, you can take your hands to the ankles, roll the shoulders back again, close your eyelids down. We go for a nice few breaths in and out. Take your inhale through your nose. Allow your chest wall and your rib cage to expand. And now as you draw your belly button towards your lower back, exhale and close the rib cage down. The breastbone has pulled down towards your belly button. Shoulders have remained open. We take that inhale again. Good, and then take your exhale, closing the ribs back down. 3 more. Inhale to breathe in. Exhale, starting to pull the sides of your ribs into the midline of your belly. 2 more here, taking your inhale. Really opening up into the chest wall, and then take your exhalation as you start to narrow in through the torso. 1 more time. Inhale to breathe in again, out and around, up into the chest wall as well. We want to breathe really wide, and then exhale, pull your abdominals in and release. You probably noticed that you also began to tuck your pelvis a little bit. So when you were inhaling, you were most likely extending the spine, and when you were exhaling, you were doing a little tuck of the pelvis, most likely. From here, let's grab our ring and let's start with our legs in extension. We're going to start in a seated position, point through the toes, and start with your arms lengthening just in front. If you don't have a ring, guys, I would recommend you order a ring. Really accessible to find these. But if you don't have this today, you're shoulder distance apart. So you're not narrowing in, you've got nice wide arms, and you're closing your fingers like this, rather than having fingers open for more activation. Okay, so we realign the posture here. We've got head on top of ribs and hips. We're going to take an inhale and lift our arms to the ceiling. Lengthen each vertebrae up here and just make sure that the ribs are still aligning into the back of the body, so they're not poking out and you're not extending the spine. We're pulling in. Now from here, begin to contract your glutes, tap your pelvis, and we're going to slowly articulate all the way down, lengthening through the arms, and then coming down and taking arms overhead. Arm stretch overhead, we take an inhale to breathe in. And then as we exhale, I want us to slowly just lift the arms up. Now from here, walk 1 foot onto the mat and then your other foot onto the mat. Your knees are on top of your ankles. From here, we're going to shoulder mobilize. So we're going to mobilize the shoulder blades now through the upper body. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Take an inhale to lift the ring up towards the ceiling. You should now feel that your shoulder blades are starting to rise off the mat very slightly. Don't move your arms or your elbows. Just take your exhale, draw the shoulders into the mat. So you feel like you've pulled the upper body into the mat here. The arms haven't moved other than lowering. And now the ribs are also pulling down and the back of your rib cage feels connected into the mat. Okay, so you should now feel that your abdominal wall is starting to switch on. We take that inhale to rise up again, and then take our exhale as we pull down. 2 more here, taking an inhale to breathe in. Take your exhale, pulling down. 1 more time, inhale to find that little hover of the shoulders, exhale to pull down. Last one, take that lift again. Now, instead of coming all the way down with the shoulders, just come to a halfway neutral position. From here, we take an inhale to breathe in. As we exhale, we nod the chin to the chest, and we slowly start to curl up here through the upper spine. Now notice that both sides of the rib cage are pulling down into the hip bones, and then you're going to lower the ribs, the shoulders. Now take your upper body, arms overhead, taking your inhale to breathe in, and then take your exhale to contract through the rib cage, hovering the head and curling back up. Going there again. I'm just going to shuffle for some more room. Find that again, guys. Contract your glutes here. Take an inhale to breathe in, arms all the way overhead. Take your exhale as you contract through the abdominals. So I really want us to be zipping in through that lower belly now. Feet are still underneath the knees. Take your inhale to come down. Take your exhale. So you've really got to find this pulling down of the rib cage to your hip bones. Lengthen through the elbows, keep the elbows in extension, and then the arms stay activated as they go overhead. Let's do two more. Taking the inhale first. Exhale. One more time. Take that inhale to breathe in. Stay activated through the ribs to the hips, and take your exhale to come up. From here, bend those elbows out nice and wide. We're going to twist and lift the back left elbow, keeping the pelvis heavy on the mat. Come back to center, and then twist again. Take your exhale, and then inhale to center. Exhale to twist. Great. So you might feel that you need to stabilize your knees here, hip distance apart. So you could always find a little yoga block to put that between the knees. Let's go for 5 more. Back to center. 4 more. Pushing into your ring for a little bit more activation through the upper body. Let's go for another 2. And then you feel the activation a bit deeper through the abdominals because you're working against tension. And let's go for 1 more. Let's hold the rotation. Let's extend the elbows and then pull the ring back in, elbows wide. Take your extension. Last 5. Really tighten the abdominals. 4. Contract your glutes. 3 more. Looking to that left elbow. 2 more. And 1 more. Hold. Then little rotations around towards that left elbow. Elbows stay wide and you're pushing into your ring and you're really tightening through those abdominals. 5 more. 4 more. Keep rotating. 3 more. Keep rotating. 2. Go for 1 more and hold. Extend. And then return to center with the extension. And now arms go overhead. We take an inhale to breathe in. Great work, guys. Same thing to the other side. So I'm just going to shuffle round. From here, we take that lift of the arms. We've closed the ribs down to the mat. And we start to curl up. Keep your ankles underneath your knees. Bend your elbows nice and wide and push into your ring. If you've not got your ring, you can hold your ball or a yoga block, width ways. Otherwise, you're just going to take your fingers together and frame them so you've got your elbows wide. Let's go for our rotation. Look to the right elbow. Come back to center. Stay in abdominal curl. Exhale. So I physically need you to curl the shoulder blades off the mat. So your shoulder blades are reaching off. When you go for the rotation, pull that right rib cage down to your hip bone. For another 3, another 2, another 1, we hold. We begin to extend, bend, and extend again. Now I need you to twist that left rib cage into that right hip bone. 3 more. Keep reaching the left shoulder blade off the mat. 2 more. Pull your belly button into the mat. Last 1. Now from here, find that elbow bend, shoulders away from your ears, nice and wide through the elbows, and keep rotating around into your rotation. 5, 4, keep pulling in. 4, 3, last 2, last 1, hold, extend your elbows, return to center, arms overhead, and find an extension. From here, place your ring on your abdominals. So really from your breastbone, so locate your breastbone and place that ring down. Extend your legs now. We're going to start our roll up. If you haven't got the ring today, I'm going to get you to take your arms instead overhead, and you're going to take the lift of the arms as you close the rib cage. So anyone that's not got the ring, you'll be doing arms overhead, taking an inhale. Your pelvis and your hips feel level, and your pelvis is heavy and the ribs are closing into the mat. So I need you to physically pull the ribs and the abdominals down. Then your arms lift to the ceiling and you're going to nod the chin down, round, and begin to roll up and over. Now you could do this holding your ball, and you're going to push into the ball, and then you're going to push your lower back into the ball, and then you're going to roll up and over. That's if you've not got the ring. If you've got your ring now, this is creating more tension through the abdominals to mobilize and articulate your spine into that rounded shape. We're currently in a flat back position. We need the vertebrae to round, so we need to activate this entire part of the body. We need to activate the glutes as well, and we need to keep the legs down so the hips remain in extension rather than in flexion. and lifting the legs up. Okay, once you've got that position of the ring, guys, if you've got it, so you're locating it just on your breastbone, in between the upper rib cage, that bony part of the sternum, and then you're going to take fingers together, interlace, pushing on top of the ring, elbows nice and wide. Don't worry if you've not got the ring, do this with arms overhead and try your best to control the movement. So if you've got the ring, you're going to push down into that ring. Okay, take your inhale to breathe in. It's on a bony part of the body, so yes, you're going to be feeling that contact with the ring. I need your biceps on. Nod your chin to your chest. And now physically, everyone, zip your pubic bone up to your belly button and really tighten your lower abdominals, which is your transverse abdominal wall with the pelvic floor working. It's really important we understand that before we do the movement. So you inhale, open the rib cage. Exhale, close the ribs into the mat. Pull the ribs down to your hip bones for your obliques to activate, and zip your pubic bone to your belly button. Now nod your chin to your chest and slowly start to round up and over, and then stay in that flex position. Take your inhale to breathe in, and now take your exhale. Keep your elbows nice and open. Keep the elbows lifted, shoulders away from your ears, and begin to tuck your pelvis. Now, to tuck your pelvis, the pubic bone needs to be zipping up to your belly button, the legs stay in extension, and we come back down. The ribs might now be lifting off the mat. So you check that first. Take your inhale, exhaling, pushing down, and then slowly, oh, I need to adjust the ring, zipping that pubic bone to your belly button and folding over. Now again, we take that inhale, shoulders nice and wide, elbows are lifted. Exhale, we find that shape, we maintain it, we slowly start to come down, zip that pubic bone up to your belly button as you're coming down, and then find your extension through the spine a little bit. But I say extension, you're back to neutral spine now. So the ribs are not extending through your thoracic spine, which is the middle of the spine. You're keeping your ribs nice and heavy. Well done, guys, because it's good to know about the anatomy. You need to know about the anatomy as you control these movements. Inhale first. Exhale, zip that pubic bone to your belly button. Begin to round, push into the ring. You're pushing that lower back into the mat before you roll up. And then you maintain that shape, and then we start to tuck again. So don't straighten the spine. Keep your elbows wide again. Eyes are forwards. We're tucking the pelvis. We're zipping that pubic bone up to the belly button. We're getting that lower back into the mat. We're keeping hip extension, and then we're down again. Ribs might flare. Push them back down. Draw your pubic bone up to your belly button. Keep your hips level. Take your inhale. Your elbows are wide. Otherwise, your arms are overhead if you've not got the ring. Exhale. Draw your pubic bone up to your belly button. Curl, curl, curl. Imprint that lower back before you start to lift off and roll over. Great, good. Now, if you've got that ring, you're going to take a stretch for your feet, bend your elbows. If you've not, just take a little release. Relax those shoulders. Really zip that belly, the ribs, and that belly button in and hold, and then restack. Okay, dropping the ring. We're going to shuffle down the mat, lay all the way back down, take the feet back onto the mat. We're going to go into our opposite rollover spinal position. Instead of lifting off the mat, we take the legs over into our spinal flexion the other way. Arms are down by the sides, shoulders are nice and wide. Legs are coming up into tabletop. Hips are nice and level. Okay, from here, collarbone nice and wide. I need the triceps and the upper arms to now be contracting. And I need that breastbone to zip down towards the belly button and the ribs to also close down. Pubic bone draws up to the belly button. We take an inhale. We keep those fingertips closed. Exhale, little roll back. You do a little rock first. If you need to come back down again, you come back down. Otherwise, you try and go all the way up and over, and you find extension through the legs. Flex through your ankles. Take an inhale to breathe in, and now exhale as if you've got the ring on your belly. Pull the rib cage into the back of your body and articulate coming down. Point through those toes. Keep your ankles just a little bit higher than your hips here. Take an inhale to breathe in. Pull those ribs down. Contract your triceps in the upper arms and start to curve back over. Flex your ankles. Tuck those toes under, push through those arms, curve and round through that spine. Open up any tension that you're feeling here through the hamstrings. Keep the knees straight. Push down through those arms. Take an inhale, keep your arms narrow. Point the toes and slowly contracting to come all the way down again. We're going to do 2 more. Okay, shoulders nice and wide, really zipping that breastbone down towards your belly button, taking an inhale, exhale, trying to not allow the hip flexors to roll you over, trying to really pull through your lower abdominals, flexing those ankles into your dorsiflexion where you're in that nice 90-degree. And you could do what I'm doing now and hold your ankles, bend your elbows wide. Now bend your knees and bring them down towards the mat, and then extend your knees. Keep the activation of your abdominals, guys. So pull in with the belly, taking an inhale, bend the knees, and then exhale. Let's do 2 more. Take an inhale. This is opening up the back line of your body. Let's do 1 more. And then let's hold. Now from here, take your hands a little bit higher up your calf muscles and bend your elbows out wide. Now from here, left hand goes onto your right leg, elbows still wide. Pull the ribs in and away from you. You're going to lift this left leg up, point your left toes, and contract the left glute to the point where you're getting vertical alignment of your ankle on top of your knee and your hip bone. That left glute is contracting. And then from here, what I need us to do is try to tuck the pelvis, zip the pubic bone up to the belly button, keep contracting, really squeezing into that left glute here. Now check if your ankle is rotating out. You're going to bring that rotation of that hip back into neutral. Take that leg back over. Opposite side, hands on that left leg. Point the right toes, contracting here. Try to keep your hips level. Look towards your pubic bone. Zip your pubic bone towards your belly button as you push through this right leg. Keep that ankle and that right knee in line with your hip bone, vertically aligned. There's no rotating of the ankle out or in. There's no external or internal hip rotation. And then we come back down. 1 more time on each leg. So we go up again. We're just trying to balance on those shoulder blades as we open into our hip extension, find our glute contraction, and then take it back over. And then let's switch again, contracting the glutes. Well done, guys. Elbows nice and wide, and come back down. Okay, from here, arms reach overhead. This is a little bit more advanced. So if this is too much, you now take your hands to your hips instead, or bring those arms all the way back down for stability here. Without lifting those wrists, we're trying to lengthen. It's okay if you're lifting, just try and press back down. Otherwise, take those arms all the way over. Keep your fingertips together. Keep your fingers closed. Relax the shoulders. Now slowly point your toes. Keep your knees in extension. Really pull the rib cage in, and vertebrae by vertebrae, I need you to roll and melt your spine back down into the mat. Okay, now from here, you either keep your arms overhead for the advanced option, or your arms are back to the sides of your body and your shoulders have rolled back and your collarbone is nice and wide and your breastbone pulls down and the ribs are connected into the mat as well as that lower back, and you're zipping your pubic bone up. We take an inhale, we go back over into that rollover. We roll back over, we hold. From here, flex the ankles. Now from here, take an inhale. Exhale, lift one leg. Hold. You could take your hands to your hips and your elbows down to the mat for more stability. Otherwise, arms still overhead. Or for another bit of stability, arms to the sides of your body here, checking that your wrists aren't lifting, checking that you're narrow with the arms lengthening and contracting the tricep. I'm going to keep my arms overhead for the advanced option. Watch that your left ankle and left knee isn't rotating. Keep it neutral. Now from here, you're going to squeeze that heel towards the back of your hamstring and then extend that leg back overhead. Same to the right. The right lifts up. Check that there's no rotation through your hip. Keep the neutral. Squeeze that right glute. Zip your pubic bone to your belly button. And then bring that right heel of the foot down towards your hamstring and stretch. So what we're doing here is lengthening the quads and getting into hip extension. Left leg goes again. So we contract that glute as we open up into hip extension. And we try and get that knee directly on top of the hip. We squeeze down as much as we can. Well done, guys. Good. You're bringing it into that vertical alignment and then going back. One more time. Inhale first. Taking that lift, checking no hip rotation. Zip your pubic bone into your belly button. So it's like you're zipping down a pair of jeans here. Hold. Bend that knee. Keep that knee on top of the hip. Squeeze your right glute. hold that extension all the way, and then take that over, leg over. Flex your ankles, take a stretch through the back of the Achilles, through the hamstrings. Take your inhale to breathe in, pull through those abdominals. Your hands are either back down to your sides for more stability, no lifting of the wrists, push down. Otherwise, arms overhead for a challenge, and then slowly point your toes. As you start to mobilize now, keep your knees extended as much as you can. Zip your belly to your back, and you control as much as you can that roll down, and then you're going to bring your knees in for a hug. Interlace your fingers, support your knees, give your lower back a rock side to side, and circle those knees out. Great work, guys. Good. Okay, rock yourselves up and off, and then from here, what I'm going to get us to do is to turn onto hands and knees. Okay, hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. We're starting to draw up the rib cage going into the back of the body. So check your hands are under your shoulders. So you've got 90-degree shoulder flexion, and that your knees are directly underneath your hip bone, vertical alignment. Okay, we start with the engagement of the ribs in the body, and we pull the lower belly muscles up. We really push up and away from the mat. We're first going to mobilize the shoulders again. So push those toes, tops of the feet down, push the shin bones down. From here, don't let the ribs de-engage isn't a word, disengage. So disengaging would almost look like that, and I've gone into the back of my body, the muscles here, and I'm not doing anything in the front here. So we're pulling in, we're holding on, we're activating and aligning the ribs in line with the pelvis, and then we're drawing up those pelvic floor muscles to try and strengthen into the lower abdominal region. We're going to just lower that chest and draw the shoulder blades in the back of the body together. Keep the head lifted. Take an exhale, push up and away. So I always want you to think here that you're really like zipping up, and you're zipping up from lower abdominals, from pubic bone up to belly button. We go again. We just sink through the shoulders. So notice the elbows aren't bending, your triceps are on. Exhale, keep your head in line with your spine, look to the top of the mat. Draw the shoulder blades together and push back up. Let's do 5 more. Inhale down, exhale, coming back up. And again, there's no tucking of your lower back like that. You're keeping a very slight neutral position. So I need the hip bones to feel level side to side, and your lower back just to have a little bit of an arch so that the tailbone is flicking up towards the ceiling. And we go for another 3. Well done, guys. There's a lot to think about in the posture. Let's go for 2 more, and there's a lot to understand in the body all at once, but it comes with more consistency in time and consistency of moving the body, and then we hold. Now from here, we go into cat-cow stretch. So I need you to push the mat away from you, so you're protracting your shoulder blades. Take your inhale and look forwards. Okay, now draw those abdominals in, slide the ribs into the pelvis, contract your glutes, and drop that head. Look towards your belly button. Really zip that belly button to your breastbone, and then take your inhale. As you extend your spine, lengthen your head forwards, keep your shoulders wide away from your ears. Exhale, really push away from the mat. It's always quite nice to have yoga blocks under the hands here if you need more shoulder stability and activation. Drop your head all the way between your biceps. Inhale to look forwards. 2 more. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, pull that breastbone down towards your pubic bone and pull your pubic bone into the breastbone, into that belly button, all the way with that head and neck into flexion. And take one last inhale, looking forwards again. And one final exhale. Keep those shoulders lifted away from the wrists. Take your tuck and then return. Okay, from here, we're going to go into some push-ups. We're going to just walk those hands forwards in front of the shoulders. And now tuck the pelvis and drop the pelvis. From here, move your knees back very slightly and just stabilize. Those hands might need to walk back ever so slightly. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Lengthen your head and your neck in line with the rest of the spine. Keep tucking your pelvis. I need the glutes to contract, and I need you to be zipping up the pubic bone to the belly button, pulling the ribs into the back of the ribs. And thinking about all those points. Okay, we're going to hover the ankles. The knees might also need to slide back at that point. Okay, working through the shoulders. Now you could always cross your ankles for a little bit more activation, or keep the legs closed and ankles closed. We take an inhale. I need you to keep the tuck of the pelvis, pull your belly in. So you've got to keep here activated, guys. Keep your hips in extension. Now you're going to bend your elbows and draw your shoulder blades together. Don't arch your lower back. Activate the abdominals and push up. And again, drop your pubic bone towards the mat. Take an inhale, lower, exhale. push up and away. We go for another 8. Inhale, take your exhale. If anyone wants to advance this, tuck your toes, hover the knees, find your plank position, dropping down. Really pull that pubic bone into your belly button, find your hips nice and level. And going again. Exhaling to come up. Well done. Pull the upper rib cage in. Let's go for 3 more. And take it back down. Exhale to come back up. 2 more. Taking it down. Exhale. Coming back up. And let's do 1 more. Squeeze those glutes together. Final one, guys. Well done. Good. Drop the knees if they were up, and then take a child's pose to sit all the way back down. Rotate your wrists for a second. Relax the shoulders from your ears. Open your knees wide, bend your hips. A little sway side to side. Take an inhale and take an exhale. Release. Great work. Good. Now you're going to come onto the front of your bodies, drop all the way down. Okay, well done. Good work. From here, we're going to start with the hands stacked on one another. Elbows nice and wide. Roll those shoulders away from your ears. Open your legs to about hip distance. Tiny bit wider than your hips, actually. So you're going to take your feet and your toes to the corners of your mat. Okay, this gives us a better position of the lower body. We start to contract through the glutes and tuck the pelvis. So to tuck the pelvis, you physically need to slide the rib down into your hip socket. The pubic bone has zipped up to the belly button as the pelvis has mobilized. So if you were to arch your lower back and push your belly into the floor, into the mat, that's your spine extending. Take an inhale. Now exhale, physically pull the ribs now up and away from the mat and down to the hips, pubic bone to your belly button, and tuck pelvis. From there, relax your shoulders, look down towards your knuckles, take an inhale to breathe in. On your exhalation, keep hovering your lower belly away from the mat, push your pubic bone down, and do not lose glute contraction. We don't want to feel that lumbar spine, your lower back, taking over when you lift. So we take our inhale first. As we exhale, we really start to zip that pubic bone up to the belly button, hover, look towards your fingers, and then drop and lower back down. We go again. So I need you to re-tuck the pelvis. Your hips are in extension here, shoulders away from the ears. We take that inhale to breathe in, and then we exhale, hovering up, tucking the pelvis, and dropping and lowering back down. And again, taking it up, taking an inhale first. Exhale, taking that hover, and dropping back down. Let's go for 2 more. Take an inhale first to breathe in, tucking that pelvis under, drawing the ribs together, and taking that lift to come all the way back up. Let's do it 1 more time, taking an inhale first, and taking our exhale, coming all the way up. Now, can we reach the arms to the back of the body, turn the palms to face one another, lower and press your hands into your outer thighs, lower to the right ear and cheek, round your shoulders into the mat. That's our pull posture position. Okay, from here, re-tuck your pelvis, contract the glutes, really zip the ribs towards one another and into the hip sockets, push the pubic bone into the mat and zip your pubic bone up towards your belly button. Take an inhale, keep the glutes switched on. Take your exhale, look forwards and open through the collarbone, and now hover those arms and hover the legs. Hover the knees and the thighs off the mat. Close your fingers and keep extending, and really open your shoulders a little bit wider now, and then lower to your left ear. I'm just going to keep looking to the same side so I can see ourselves here. Take an inhale to breathe in. Pubic bone pushes down, pubic bone to belly button. Exhaling, open the shoulders first. Hover those arms, extend your elbows, close your fingers, and then hover those legs, look down to the mat. Open your shoulders wider and lower back down. Lower to your right cheek. Let's do 2 more on each side. Take an inhale first, breathe in. Exhale, tuck your pelvis, pubic bone to belly button. Start to hover, reach and extend those elbows, open your shoulders wider, hover those arms to shoulder height, wrist in line with shoulders, look down, hover those legs up, squeeze your glutes, and lower back down to your left ear. Let's do 1 more here. Inhale to breathe in, tuck your pelvis, pubic bone zips to the belly button, contract your glutes, and from here, shoulders start to open, lengthen and extend those elbows, wrists in line with the shoulders, hover your knees and thighs, squeeze your glutes, hold, and lower back down. Okay, we bring those arms in front of the shoulders. we roll the shoulders away and we tuck the pelvis under. We point through the toes and we extend the knees. From here, eyes are looking towards the mat, your head is hovering and the shoulders are relaxing away from the ears, but that doesn't mean the shoulder blades are relaxing. We're just trying to not create any tension through muscles in the upper neck and shoulder area so that we don't compensate there and create unnecessary tension. I need us to keep the contraction through the upper arm, tuck the pelvis under, contract the glutes, zip that belly button away from the ear, hover your right arm from that shoulder blade and then lower back down. Hover your left arm from that shoulder blade and lower back down. Right arm again. Inhale, lower. Left arm again. Inhale, lower. Right arm again. Press your pubic bone into the mat. Keep your pelvis in its tuck. Contract your glutes. Lower. Now the right arm lifts with the left leg and we hover the breastbone and we're really pulling the pubic bone up towards the belly button and pulling the rib cage up towards the back of the body. And then we're going to lower everything there. Same thing. So we retuck. So we've got to really adjust the ribs here in line with the pelvis. And then we're lifting that left arm with that right leg, pulling the ribs down. So pull your rib cage down towards the hips. Lower. One more on each side. Inhale first, look down to the mat. Exhale, pull the ribs up, tuck your pelvis, pubic bone to belly button. Taking that lift, lower back down. And we do it one more time. We take an inhale here. Exhale, we really zip that breastbone into the belly button as we tuck the pelvis, zip the pubic bone to the belly button, and we come back up. From here, hover, and now switch, 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 switch. Can you lift higher? Can you keep pulling the ribs down to your hips as you contract your glutes? As you look forward and try and extend through the spine, but not through that lower back. Really work through the body now for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift everything up higher, lower back down. You've got it, guys. Okay. Press your legs down, contract your thighs, really extend through the knees now. Okay. From here, shoulders relaxing away from those ears. Tucking the pelvis under again. So heavy pubic bone. Ribs need to pull up and away from the mat and then down to the hip bones here for the obliques. And the rib cage alignment on top of the pelvis so that we don't go into an overextension into our lumbar spine, which isn't the essence or the objective of what we're doing in the body and the posture here. From here, we're going to take our inhale to breathe in. And then on the exhale, keep your fingertips close together, shoulders away from the ears. Tuck your pelvis, close your ribs together. Now from here, inhale. Exhale, lift those arms and try and bring your wrists in line with your shoulders. Now lower and release back down. Okay, recheck your pelvic position, shoulders away from the ears, pubic bone zips to the belly button, squeeze your glutes, heavy glutes, legs are heavy. Take an inhale, pull the ribs away from the mat. So you physically pull the ribs first. You should feel a lot of compression through the abdominals. Now let's hover and let's come back down. Okay, we're activating a little bit better there. We go again. Inhale first. Exhale. Up. Lower back down. Can we do 5 more? Inhale first. Exhale. Eye gaze can look down. Lower. Can we go for another 4? Inhale. Tuck your pelvis. Exhale. Don't move your pelvis. And lower back down. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale to tuck. All the way up. Extend those elbows. Let's do 2 more, guys. Tucking the pelvis first. Coming all the way back up again into extension. Let's do 1 more, taking our inhale. Exhale to tuck. And take that lift. Bend your elbows in. And then find your extension lower. And take your hands down to the sides of your arms. Well done, guys. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Contract the pubic bone up to your belly button. Tuck your pelvis, contract your glutes. Push just from the shoulder blades. Draw the ribs up to the upper rib cage. Hug your abdominals in and sit your hips back into a child's pose. Open up the lower back, sway side to side, take an inhale and take an exhale. Excellent work. Okay, from here we go into quick side bends and then we find our resistance bands after. Okay, we start now on the left hand, just in line with the left hip bone. Okay, Right foot plants itself on the mat, and I need the foot to be turning out to the end of the mat. And then I need your left foot to almost be behind that ankle. Then I need the feet to almost just shuffle down the mat a little bit more, so you've got more room from the pelvis to the ankles. And then we're not in any of this slouching position that I'm currently demonstrating and the ribs popping out. We're going to lift the ribs here. So I would actually encourage taking the right hand underneath your left rib cage and physically shifting and pulling in. Now you've activated that left oblique. You've got your left wrist now in line with your left hip bone, and we're lifting out of the shoulder. So we're not sinking because nothing's activated when we're here. We've got to come up and hold. Now we've got to pull that breastbone in. We've got to readjust the pelvis here so that the hips are stacking. This right hip is still pretty much in line with this left hip. Okay, right hand is just going to start there for a second, then bring that right arm out so it's balancing on top of your elbow. Shoulders nice and wide, stay lifted. So this left shoulder blade now is almost pulling into a little bit of retraction. It's stabilizing on top of the rib cage. We take an inhale through the spine, so it's also on the spine there, and then we start to lift. So the body weight is going to shift forwards a little bit. I need this left knee now to extend, right knee to extend, and then that right arm comes overhead. We're really lifted on this side. Then we're going to scoop this left rib cage up, pull that breastbone in, and then zip that pubic bone up to the belly button. We take an inhale, and then we're going to bend both knees and then drop back down and try and stay lifted when we come down. If that was really intense for anyone, especially on the left shoulder into wrist joint, if you've got a yoga block, pop a yoga block underneath this hand and really push away from the yoga block to come up. The other option is coming down onto your elbow to start with. The left elbow starts under the shoulder. We start to lift. So I would take right hand under your underarm or sports bra if you're a female, and you're pulling up the ribs as well. And then you're going to try and come into it there instead, although I need to just stretch away a little bit. So you've got that length, lengthening that top elbow, and then you could bend and drop the hip down and then come up again, really contracting, lowering, and then contracting. Okay, otherwise, guys, let's keep that going. So from here, we're going to do another 5. We're going to keep those hips facing forwards. That knee is opening up to the side. Okay, we're going again. We're going to keep that left wrist in line with the left hip, lifting through the shoulder joint. We come up again, holding, and lower back down. Let's go for another 5. I almost need your pelvis to move down the mat now. 4 more. So you're going to sit towards your heels a little bit for 3. Well done, and keep the stability through this left shoulder working. 2 more, your obliques are on in those abdominals, the whole abdominals are on. Don't let your hips angle away from the center of the room you're facing in. And last one, we hold, we bend the knees, and we drop down onto the side of the body. Shifting to the other side, well done. Okay, so once you're in this position, right hand is in line with the right hip bone. So just find that they're in line, hip in line with that wrist. Left foot comes forward on the mat, right foot comes behind. If you need to drop down onto your elbow, you bring your elbow under your shoulder here. From here, we start now with that left hand and arm reaching out. Left hip is stacked on top of right hip. We start to lift through that right rib cage and activate through that right shoulder. So we're really pushing away from the mat here now. Okay, from here, everyone, move those legs down the mat a little bit so you've got a little bit more room. We're going to push through that right shoulder, activate those obliques, straighten both knees, and go over into our side bend. Keep your elbow extended, really lift through the side of the body. And then from here, as you bend your knees, can you bring your pelvis almost down the mat away from that right wrist towards the ankles? So your pelvis comes down the mat. And then we're going to lift and go back up into our side bend, extend that arm overhead, over side of the ears. Both hips are angling forwards, no rotating. Try and find that in your body. And then come all the way back down. So rather than just dropping down and dropping into the shoulder and the upper neck, like I've just demonstrated, you're going to move down the mat away from your hand and then lift over again, coming down and going straight over. Let's go for another 4. Keep your rib cage, both sides of the ribs on top of the pelvis. 3 more. Well done, guys. I know there's a lot of talking. 2 more, but we want to think about the alignment. And last one, hold, 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 lengthen, and you can drop down onto that side of the thigh. Okay, shoulders roll back for a second, pop your resistance bands on above the knees, around the thighs. Great work, guys. Okay, come onto the left side of your body again. Take your left hand behind the back of your head, move your pelvis to the back of the mat, and then from here, make sure your knees are now in front of your hips. If you don't have a resistance band, you do this without the band. Ankles are stacked, knees are stacked in front of the hip bones, so you're at a 90-degree hip flexion. And then from here, your pelvis is at the back of your mat. Your shoulders are stacked on top of the ribs, and the ribs are stacked on top of the hips. We take our right hand to our rib cage and we pull in. We open that left elbow back a little bit behind us and we rest into our bicep. Right hand's going to start on the right rib cage. You're hovering that left rib cage away from the mat. There is a little bit of distance. There's a P there now. You're going to zip that pubic bone up and then going to pull that breastbone down. We're going to take an inhale, relax the right shoulder. Exhale, lift this knee up and away from the hip. Lift into your resistance band, flex your right ankle and resist and don't fully close. So keep this ankle on the right side flexed. Exhale, zip your breastbone down as the pubic bone lifts up. So you've got the ribs pulling down, your obliques are on, as the pelvic floor and your abdominals, your corset is working, we resist. So remember, you're doing controlled, slow movements now with precision. As you're stabilizing this hip joint using your abdominal wall, your lower back isn't flexing and it's neither arching. So you're in a neutral. This right shoulder's relaxing, the chin is open. We're taking slow movements. We're resisting the resistance band, which carries a bit of weight now. And we're resisting gravity where that leg is dropping down to. Let's do 2 more on this side. Keep the lift of that rib cage. 1 more. Now from here, little pulses up and down. So you're just going to lift a bit higher than the hip with the knee and then bring that knee down a little bit lower than the hip, lift, and then drop below hip height. 2 above hip height, below hip height, a little bit further up. Let's do 3 more. Keep zipping the breastbone down, the belly button up. 3, 2, and 1, hold. Now from here, turn your knee down towards that knee on the mat and then bring your heel to your heel. So we're in external hip rotation and then we go to our internal hip rotation. Don't let the rib cage collapse. You can always take that right hand down, bring that knee in and then open out. Let's do 4 more, nearly here. For 3 more, 2 more, last 1. Bring it all the way back and drop and release back down, all the way down. We go back up 1 last time. We're going to do another 8. We're nearly done. We do the other side after. 7 more. Pulling in through those abdominals, zipping the breastbone down, zipping the belly button up. Let's do 5 more. Exhale up. 4 more. Go for 3 more. If you're working with a resistance band, you feel this a little bit deeper. 2 more. Well done, guys. Final 1. Hold. Extend that leg back, straighten the knee, point the toes, squeeze that right glute, find full hip extension. Now push that hip away from the rib cage, hold, and bring that leg in. Push that right hand into the mat, lifting yourselves up and turn to the other side. Okay, angling your body to the back of the mat, opening out of that right elbow, resting into your bicep, right hand behind head, left hand to hip, knees in front of your hip, ankles are stacked. Lift that right rib cage, pull those ribs in. We take an inhale, relax that shoulder. We're going to lift up and then we're resisting and not dropping all the way down. Really working into those abdominals. So I want you to feel you're really zipping up and you're pulling the rib cage back. Let's do 4 more. Let's do 3 more. Make sure that ankle on the left side is flexing. 2 more. So the toes are facing your shin bones, angling up. Last one, we hold. We start to drop a little bit lower than the hip, lift up higher than the hip, lower. Pull those ribs together, pull the rib cage back in the body, open that right elbow out a little bit wider so it's in line with the shoulder. Let's do 3 and 2. Get ready for external hip rotation and internal, and drop your knee down into internal hip rotation, open out. So you're really going to understand here now the range that you've got in your hips. I'm a little bit weaker on this side of the body. I've not got as much range, so it's really important that we do these movements in the body. We're going to do another 4, opening up into the band, heel to heel, and then knee to knee, all from the hip joint. 2 more. Well done, guys. And let's do 1 more. Let's bring it down again. Let's lift up. Let's hover that knee down and then lift back up. Another 7, pulling in. Well done. Another 6, pulling up. Let's do 5 more. Doing really well. 4 more. Keep your chin away from your chest. The neck is aligned. Cervical spine isn't flexing or extending. Last 2. And last 1, hold, extend that knee, push that leg back, open through the hips. You've got your hip, your knee, and your ankle in alignment, squeezing through that back glute, pull the ribs in, hold, don't let your hip tilt back, and we're lowering that leg. Well done. Our time has just gone off. Okay, push that left hand down, come up, guys, take that resistance band off. Let's take a child's pose, open those knees nice and wide, and reach your arms forwards. Take a moment here to lower the chest. Take an inhale to breathe in. Open the back of your rib cage and exhale to release down. Let's do 1 more. Take the inhale again and take your exhale to release. Let's take those hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips, and tuck the toes under. Pull the rib cage up into the back of the body. Take your shoulders out nice and wide to the sides. Make sure you're lifted through the upper body. Inhale, look forwards to the top of the mat. Lift your head in line with the rest of the spine. Hover those knees back to downward dog. Lower those heels. Really send the pelvis back here. Stretch nice and deeply. And then just a knee bends. Just the knee has bent here. The hips haven't moved. And then you're going to lift the other knee into a bent position. And at the same time now, your ankles are lifting up one at a time. And you're really articulating through the entire foot. Pull that upper rib cage in, up into the upper back. Relax the shoulders. Lower your chest. Lower your ears between your biceps. Keep your arms shoulder distance apart. Go a bit wider through the arms. Let's do 1 more. And then let's send both heels of the feet into the mat. Let's just now walk those hands towards the heels of the feet. I'm just going to try and lift my camera up a little bit higher. So you're going to walk your hands back. And then from here, relax your shoulders. Make sure your hips on your pelvis are on top of the knees and the ankles. Fold over, dangle. Now, all of the tension that may be in your hamstrings, in the back of your thighs, need to go into the glutes and the abdominal wall. And I need you to round as if there's a big beach ball here and you're pulling in. Now, you could take your left hand to your rib cage at the back of the body and your right hand to the rib cage at the front of the body. Zip your pubic bone to your belly button and contract your glutes, not your hamstrings. As you now pull the rib cage away from the front of the hand, you send your back hand and the rib cage almost down into the pelvis. You've now restacked the ribs on top of the pelvis. The pubic bone and the belly button are vertically aligned under the breastbone. And then, guys, you're going to lift your arms up to the ceiling. I'm just going to kneel down so you can see me. Interlace the fingers, big stretch up, open those ribs, and then take your exhale to release and relax down. Shoulders, give them a roll back. You don't want to have tension through the upper body. Look side to side with your head on your neck. And then maybe it would be nice to just give the head a little circle. And then you could just rotate to the other side, just reverse it. And back to center, restack your head, roll your shoulders back, keep the front of the shoulder joint open now, draw that breastbone in. Well done, guys. I hope you enjoyed your postural reset today. You did 45 minutes really activating and integrating as best you could. Proud of you for showing up and doing the work. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. All it takes is you. It takes your understanding. It just takes some discipline. But it's really worth it when you do work your body in this way. Let me know if you've got any questions, any concerns, any confusions, any feedback, if you want to see any specific movements for the body, targeting any specific muscles or joints or areas. Please constantly give me that feedback so I can help support you best in these classes. All right, thank you so much, guys. See you soon.